Twilight of an Empire. By Zhongwen and Boya. Chapter 7, MAGA and Trump. Opening. Dear listeners, today we're going to talk about a political phenomenon that shook the entire world, the MAGA movement, and its central figure, Donald Trump. MAGA is an acronym for Make America Great Again. That red baseball cap became one of the most iconic symbols of early 21st century American politics. It represented far more than a campaign slogan, it was an eruption of the deep fractures running through American society. 1. The soil of MAGA, the Forgotten America. To understand the MAGA movement, one must understand its social foundation. After the 2008 financial crisis, America's economic recovery was highly uneven. The stock market rebounded, corporate profits recovered, and Wall Street bonuses swelled again. But the factory towns of the Midwest were slowly dying in the continuing wave of deindustrialization. Steel mills closed. Auto parts plants moved to Mexico. Coal mines shrank because of environmental regulations. An entire generation of white workers without college degrees watched the kind of dignified life their fathers had once enjoyed, stable jobs, affordable homes, a sense of security about the future, slip through their fingers. At the same time, they felt culturally marginalized. The mainstream media, Hollywood, and university campuses were filled with mockery of their values. They believed in God, but were dismissed as ignorant. They opposed illegal immigration, but were labeled racists. They believed men are men and women are women, but were told that view was transphobic. Political scientist John Judas describes this phenomenon as the logic of populism. When trust between the elites and ordinary people collapses completely, a populist leader emerges to fight the corrupt elites in the name of the people. Trump grew out of this soil. 2. MAGA 1.0, the Revolution of 2016. On June 16, 2015, Donald Trump descended an escalator into the lobby of Trump Tower and announced his candidacy for president. Rock music by Neil Young played behind him. His opening remarks included a line that would later provoke an uproar: Mexicans were bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists. Nearly all mainstream commentators dismissed Trump's candidacy as a farce. The Republican establishment scoffed at him. But in the subsequent Republican primaries, Trump, with his blunt, direct, and entirely politically incorrect style, defeated one conventional Republican after another, 16 in total. He gave his rivals nicknames: Little Marco, Rubio, Lion Ted, Cruz, Low Energy Jeb, Bush. On November 8, 2016, Trump defeated Hillary Clinton and was elected the 45th President of the United States. The result stunned mainstream global opinion. The core platform of MAGA 1.0 can be summarized in a few key themes: economic nationalism, opposition to free trade agreements, and a trade war with China, immigration restriction and the construction of a border wall along Mexico, anti-establishment, waging all-out war on Washington's bureaucracy, mainstream media, and the expert class, and America First, questioning NATO obligations and demanding that allies pay their fair share. These positions ran entirely counter to the post-war bipartisan consensus that had prevailed for 7 decades. Supporters saw it as a long overdue dose of reality, opponents saw it as dangerous regression. 3. The first term, chaos and achievements side by side. Trump's first term was one of the most chaotic 4-year periods in American political history. On the achievements side, his tax cuts stimulated short-term economic growth. He renegotiated NAFTA, he took a hawkish stance on China in the trade war, a direction that even the Biden administration later continued. He brokered the Abraham Accords, normalizing relations between Israel and several Arab nations, and he appointed 3 conservative Supreme Court justices, achieving a historic shift on the court. On the chaos side, his White House staff turnover set historical records, with cabinet members shuffled constantly. He was locked in a state of perpetual war with the intelligence community, the FBI, and the Justice Department. He was impeached twice, once over Ukraine, and once over the January 6, 2021, Capitol attack, and his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, particularly his early downplaying of its severity, is widely seen as having worsened America's losses. In 2020, he lost narrowly to Biden. He refused to concede, claiming widespread voter fraud, a claim that was never substantiated in court but which spread widely among his supporters. 4. MAGA 2.0, the return and deepening of 2024. In 2024, Trump made a comeback, winning the presidential election again and becoming only the second U.S. president to win non-consecutive terms, the first being Grover Cleveland, back in the 19th century. Compared with MAGA 1.0, MAGA 2.0 shows several notable changes. First, it is more organized. In his first term, Trump largely relied on improvisation and lacked a systematic governing infrastructure. Before his second term, conservative think tanks, most notably through Project 2025, prepared a 900-page governing blueprint for the incoming administration, covering personnel and policy restructuring across every federal department. Second, its ideology is more systematic. MAGA 2.0 is no longer merely economic nationalism and immigration restriction, it has evolved into a comprehensive national conservatism philosophy, emphasizing national sovereignty, traditional values, Christian civilizational identity, and an explicit confrontation with globalist elites. Third, its social base has become more diverse. Election data from 2024 show that Trump's support among Latino men, Black men, and younger men all increased significantly compared with 2020. This suggests that the MAGA movement's appeal has expanded beyond its traditional white working-class base. 5. Trump in historical perspective. How should we situate Trump historically? Some compare him to populist leaders of the past, Andrew Jackson, similarly rough-hewn, similarly anti-establishment, similarly reliant on the anger and support of ordinary white Americans, or Huey Long, the Louisiana governor during the Great Depression who rallied people under the slogan "Every man a king," taxed the rich, and distributed wealth to the poor, only to be assassinated. Others compare him to populist authoritarian leaders in European history, but such comparisons do not hold up under scrutiny. During his first term, Trump did not cancel elections, did not mass imprison opponents, and America's basic constitutional framework remained intact under pressure. A more accurate historical placement might be this: Trump is a symptom, not merely a cause. His rise reflects the deep contradictions accumulated in American society under multiple pressures: globalization, deindustrialization, cultural change, and elite detachment. If there had been no Trump, someone else would have detonated these contradictions in some other way. Conclusion. The greatest historical significance of the MAGA movement lies not in whether Trump's policies were correct, but in what it revealed. Inside this 250-year-old republic, a substantial portion of its citizens harbor profound distrust and anger toward the existing political, economic, and cultural elites. That anger is real. The economic anxiety and cultural loss behind it are real. A healthy democratic society, regardless of its mainstream values, must listen to and respond to this anger seriously, rather than dismiss it as mere racism or extremism and look away. History does not change direction just because labels are attached to it. Thank you for listening.